I still remember the sound before I remember the words. It was the kind of laugh that doesn't explode, it spreads. Starts with one person, then another. Then suddenly, the whole room is smiling at something that isn't funny at all. I was standing near the wall holding a stack of folders when the man at the head of the table leaned back in his chair and said, half joking, half bored, "Look, if anyone here can make sense of this mess, I'll give you my paycheck for the day." More laughter. He waved a document in the air pages, dense with technical language, foreign terms, numbers stacked on numbers. Then his eyes flicked toward me, just for a second, long enough to land the punchline. "Hell, maybe even the assistant can give it a try," he said. "Though I doubt they teach this stuff where she comes from." The room laughed again, louder this time. I didn't. I stood there calm on the outside, feeling something settle on the inside. Not anger, not yet. It was that familiar heavy feeling, the one you get when you realize people have already decided who you are and no amount of truth will matter unless you force it into the light. I kept my eyes down. That's what they expected. That's what I'd learned to do. They saw my plain clothes, my quiet presence, my job title that didn't belong in that room. They didn't see the years behind me, the nights, the discipline, the things I'd lost by staying quiet, and the things I'd protected by doing the same. To them, I was background noise, furniture, useful but invisible. And for a long time, invisibility had kept me alive. The meeting dragged on, the jokes fading into frustration as it became clear no one really understood the document. Deadlines were mentioned. Money, too. A lot of it. The kind of money that changes careers, changes lives. The kind of money that never trickles down to people like me. Someone suggested using software. Someone else suggested calling an outside firm. The man at the head of the table shook his head, irritated. Too slow, too risky. We need this now. I knew exactly what the document said. I had known within seconds of seeing it, and that was the problem. Because knowing something doesn't always mean you're allowed to say it. I had learned that lesson the hard way years ago when speaking up cost my family more than silence ever could. Since then, I'd built a habit: watch first, speak later. Sometimes much later. But this time, the stakes were different. They didn't know it, but the deadline they were panicking about lined up perfectly with one of my own. A clock I'd been staring at for weeks. One that didn't care about corporate meetings or executive egos. Time has a way of forcing decisions you've been avoiding. I went back to my desk that night and sat there long after the building emptied out. The hum of the lights, the quiet click of the air system. Those sounds have a way of clearing your head. I thought about all the times I'd swallowed words. All the times I'd let people assume I was less because correcting them felt too expensive. I thought about what it would cost me this time if I stayed silent, and I thought about what it would cost others if I didn't. So I made a choice, not a loud one, not a dramatic one, just a careful step forward. I didn't march into the boardroom and announce myself. I wasn't ready for that. Instead, I left a correction, a small one, precise, anonymous, just enough to fix a critical error that would have blown the deal apart. I expected questions, confusion, maybe even suspicion. What I didn't expect was how quickly someone else would take credit for it. The next morning, I overheard him bragging about catching the nuance late at night, about how his background helped him see what others missed. Heads nodded, praise followed. The same man who had laughed the day before clapped him on the back. I felt something twist in my chest. Not jealousy, clarity. Silence, I realized, wasn't neutral anymore. It was being used against me, against the truth. And worse, the version of the deal they were now celebrating was wrong, conveniently wrong. The kind of wrong that protects people at the top and quietly crushes everyone else. That was the moment I knew. If I didn't speak now, I'd be complicit. The next meeting was worse than the first. Bigger room, higher stakes, the atmosphere thick with confidence that hadn't been earned. The man presenting spoke smoothly, confidently, every word drifting further from the truth. I stood along the wall again, listening. My heart was pounding, but my voice, when it came, surprised even me. "Actually," I said softly. It wasn't loud, it didn't need to be. The room froze. Chairs stopped shifting. Someone cleared their throat. The man at the table frowned. "Excuse me?" I took a breath. Years of restraint poured into one sentence. "That term doesn't mean what you think it does. You're missing a condition, And if you sign this as is, you're committing to something you can't legally fulfill. Silence. Then disbelief. Do you even understand what you're reading? Someone snapped. I met his eyes. For the first time. Yes, I said. I do. Questions came fast after that. Sharp. Defensive. I answered calmly, clearly. No emotion. Just facts. Translations. Context. The kind you only get from real experience, not shortcuts. The laughter never came back. Faces changed. Postures shifted. The man who'd been so confident a moment ago started sweating, stumbling over explanations. The room began to understand not just that he was wrong, but that I was right. When the man at the head of the table finally spoke, his voice was quieter, calculating. "You've been holding back," he said. I nodded. I didn't think it was my place. He studied me for a long moment. Then he smiled, not kindly, but with interest. "It is now." The deal was saved, corrected, restructured, and yes, the money he'd joked about earlier, I was paid, every dollar. But that wasn't the victory. The real victory was walking out of that room afterward, past the same people who'd laughed, and feeling something shift inside me. Not pride, not revenge, relief. Because for the first time I hadn't shrunk to fit someone else's expectations. I hadn't raised my voice or humiliated anyone in return. I had simply stood where I always had and let the truth do the talking. Some people apologized later, awkwardly. Others avoided me entirely. A few never changed at all. And that's okay. Not every story ends with everyone learning a lesson. Some just end with you finally learning yours. I still think about that laugh sometimes. How easy it was. How casual, how confident. And I wonder how many people walk away from rooms like that every day carrying talents no one bothered to look for. So let me ask you this and really think about it before you answer. Do people underestimate others because they don't see the truth, or because the truth challenges who they think they are? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every one.